Good morning, everybody. Sometimes life is hard, isn't it? And I got to be honest with you, in the Bible, nowhere do I read that we're promised that life should ever be easy. The truth is, we're all on this difficult journey. There are plenty of hills and valleys and challenges along the way, and sometimes it can be hard. So the question I just want to ask this morning is, what should our mindset be in light of the difficult journey that we all face? What's interesting is as I've went through these various Psalms that we've been covering over the last 3 weeks, we've seen a number of different scenarios play out through these Psalms. And just to remind you, we've chosen to go through this section of the book of Psalms called the Songs of the Ascents. This covers Psalm 120 through Psalm 134. And tradition tells us that these Psalms, they were gathered together by a group of people in Israel who would use them as they made a pilgrimage to Jerusalem to worship. So imagine this, there are various people who live all across the land of Israel, and when a festival would come, they would gather all their belongings, they would load them on their back, and they would take off on this journey, many of them walking for miles and miles and miles toward the city of Jerusalem, where they would all assemble together and they would climb up and ascend up the hill of Jerusalem, and they would worship the Lord at the temple. So imagine that. Imagine that journey. And so these Psalms, they were gathered together so that way the people who were traveling on that journey, those pilgrims, could sing these songs as they were journeying for worship. And so during this trip, many of them were going uphill and downhill through difficult rocky terrain. It was a hard journey for many of them. But the very last psalm that's included in this entire songbook is Psalm 134. That's our psalm this morning. It's the one that closes it out. And notice what it says. It says, "Come, bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord who stand by night in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands to the holy place and bless the Lord. May the Lord bless you from Zion, he who made heaven and earth." And so I have to imagine that for the people of Israel who've traveled this long journey, the very last song that they sang, maybe perhaps as they finally saw the temple in the distance, was this psalm right here. And it just goes to tell me that maybe for us right now, we're also on a difficult journey. Maybe in particular this morning, you've just had a rough season. Life is hard. Life is difficult. I'm sure for many of you, this is maybe the hardest season you've ever faced. And so the question is, what attitude should we have in light of our hardships? Well, I think this psalm very clearly just tells us this, that even though the journey is difficult, God is still worthy of our worship. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you're facing right now, God is worthy of your heart, your affection, and your worship. So right now, in the midst of the journey, my challenge to you is can we come and bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord? Can we lift up our hands to the holy place and bless the Lord? My hope and my prayer this morning is that for you, even though the journey is difficult, that you can respond with a heart of worship.